Welcome to Some of the Giant Sundays, where we change our lives by waking up the sleeping giant within.
You better get up, get out, and get something. Don't let the days of your life pass you by. You need to get up, get out, and get something.
Man, I've told the story so many times. I was abandoned by my father in the cold basement of Chicago, Illinois. My mother gave me over to my grandmother, and she disowned me. But not only did she do that, around the very first times that I ever had a conversation with my mother at the age of 8 years old, I remember her coming down to Miami, Florida to live with my grandmother, myself, and my uncle and my aunt. And as we're sitting in that dark, hot, and humid room late at night, my mother is laying on her bed and I'm sitting in front of the fan. My mother tells me that I'm lucky, because if she had the opportunity, she would have flushed me down the toilet. What do you think that does to an 8-year-old little boy? I got into a lot of trouble growing up as a kid. I got into a lot of fights. I got suspended. I got kicked out of school. So many different things happened. Why? Because of the hatred, the anger, and the resentment that I had towards my parents for not being there for me. The anger and the resentment that I had towards my mother for saying those harsh words to me. So the question is, how do you get over something like that? Because eventually I had to get over it. I had to forgive my parents for not being there for me. Forgive my mother for not being there for me. If you're in this situation as well, if you have a similar story, the question is, how do you get over it? Because it's not easy, but this is how I did it. The first thing I did was accept the fact that this happened to me and I had no control over it. But I had to look at myself and tell myself I am not less than a person because of the nasty things that my mother said to me, that other family members said to me, saying that I would be dead at a certain age, locked up by the age of 20. I couldn't control the things that people said to me or did to me. But I had to tell myself, I had to believe it, I had to recite it, that I am intelligent, I am great, I am competent, I am confident. I need you to say that to yourself if you're in that position. You are great, you are confident, you are competent, and watch it come alive. But before you do that, you just have to acknowledge and accept the situation that you're in to move forward. Next thing I had to do was find out my family history. And when I found out my family history on my mother's side, I realized why she said the things that she said to me, because my grandmother also said those type of things to her. So it helped me to sympathize with her, and by that, it helped me to forgive her. Next thing I had to do was control versus being controlled. I could no longer allow the past and the past history to control my emotions and my feelings and what I did or what I didn't do. But what I could control was the present. And I knew what I wanted out of life, and so I moved forward doing those things. So when it comes to overcoming anger and resentment, you just have to do one thing. Let it go. But that's not it. I need you to tune in next time so that we can see the benefits of being an overcomer. But I need you to remember that there is a giant in all of us. You just have to call him or her out.
You better get up, get out, and get something. Don't let the days